Okay, we are back. It's been about 15 minutes since the last calibration. Again, the difference in temperature between inside the house and outside is about 10 degrees. I just took the model out, let it sit for 10 minutes outside after our last calibration here, and we're going to see what happened. So there we go. I'm going to connect. By the way, let me describe what I have here. I bought this model about 10 days ago. The firmware I have on the flight controller is 1.33, and the firmware on the AHRS is 1.23, as you saw in that video there. So let's see what happens with the drifting. There you go. We have minus 14 degrees of drift. So in real life, if we were flying this model, this thing would be automatically trying to compensate and banking to one side because of this drift based on the feedback of the three-axis gyro. So I'm going to calibrate, and you're going to see this thing drifting again. And that's basically why some of the functions do not work. Here we are, it's calibrated, and it started drifting already. So it's a pretty rapid drift, and basically that's what happens every time you fly the model. It flies fine for a few minutes or maybe the first battery pack, and if you don't recalibrate after that, you'll have issues. And again, you really need to compensate to keep the model, staying on one spot. Some people may ask, maybe I don't have my switches mapped correctly, and I'm going to demonstrate that they are in a minute. Just grab my radio. My equipment is a 12X JR radio with a 9-channel controller. So that's normal mode, ATT mode, GPS mode, and now for carefree, you see it's moving on and off. Obviously the show lamp always works. And finally heading lock. None of these functions do work because of that drifting that is taking place. You can see in just 2 minutes it has already drifted 2 degrees. And if we let it sit a little longer, it'll drift all the way back to minus 14, plus 14, plus 20. This morning when I started, the model was about 20 degrees. So that's a big problem, this model, that needs to be corrected. I don't know if it's a software firmware upgrade that might correct this problem, or that three-axis gyro is not of good quality. So that's it, guys. Thanks.